Yeah, just that, yeah. I'm on. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's nice to see everybody. I think tonight's my first night where there wasn't a high school thing, so there's more of you guys in here tonight, so that's awesome. Welcome to anybody who is visiting. We're very glad you're here. If we can do anything for you, then let us know, and we want to get to know you better. First of all, I wanted to, before we get started on the lesson, I wanted to check in. Nikki, how are things in Jamaica with your family?
My family's okay.
Okay.
But there is some property damage, but everybody is good right now.
Okay, everybody's okay.
Areas in this island is devastated.
Yeah.
Some areas of the island.
Right.
If you've ever been to Jamaica, Montego Bay has been.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad. Okay. That Nikki and Davine have family in Jamaica, and so we've been concerned about them. And I did read that like several of the hospitals.
Yes, like 4 hospitals on the western side.
Yeah.
Have been
Destroyed, and so there's no emergency medical care for some of the people that live there. So we want to remember them in our prayers, and yours as well. Okay, we're going to get started because we're going to do something that goes along with my lesson tonight. Some of you, there's a jar on some of the tables, and I didn't put out this many jars. So Meg Varner is on if I get this wrong, Alina, let me know. She's on a teen committee for an organization that is collecting socks for children who come into foster care. It's the little things like that you don't think of, that when somebody, a lot of times those children are coming out of obviously not a great situation. And a lot of times they come with nothing or very little. And so anything like that is super helpful, and just simple, clean, new socks. I know I love when I have clean, new socks. And so anyway, that's what the jars are for. If you have any change, if you have any cash, if you want to stick it in, if you don't, that's fine, not a big deal. But anyway, we can pass some of those jars around today. Anytime tonight, you can stick it in there. Okay, so that's what that's for. And that goes along with my lesson today. In a way, so we're talking about love and obedience tonight. And I wore my shirt. It says love. Okay. So let's start with, is love just a feeling? Is love just a feeling? So if I asked you how many of you in here love somebody, I can guarantee that every single one of you would raise your hand. Everybody loves somebody, okay? Whether it's your spouse or your children or your friend or your parents or your grandchildren, we all love somebody, okay? And so when you love someone, what are some ways that we show those people that we love them? So if I just went up to my family and just told them every day, I love you, but I never showed them with actions, do you think that would be the same? Do I really love them if I don't show them that I love them? So what are some ways that we show the people we love that we love them?
Speak kindly to them.
Okay, we speak kindly to them. Yes.
Tell them why you love them, what they've done that you love.
Tell them why you love them. Yes.
Do things for them.
Spend time with them. Yes, that's very important, especially with, any age. But I feel like it's really important for the little ones and then the older ones too. And you said doing things for them, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got to jump on that quick or it's going to be gone. So we do things for them, right? Okay. As moms, we cook for our children. We clean for them. We make sure that they have what they need for school. We check their folders well, some parents are better at that than others, checking the folders. But that's just life. And so we do things for our children. We do things for our spouses. We do things for our friends. And so love is not just a feeling, or it shouldn't just be a feeling. Our love for God is also demonstrated through our actions. Today or tonight, we're going to explore the deep biblical connection between loving and obeying God. They are tightly wound together. You can't have one without the other, okay? Or we shouldn't. So God's love, we'll start with the foundation, the very bottom, the very base of everything in our life should be God's love for us, because God's love is the perfect love. Romans 5:8. Who would like to read that? You can read it off the board if you want.
But God showed his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
Okay, God's love is unconditional. We are separated from God by our sin, and we are all sinners. Every one of his creation sinned at some point. But he loves us and did and has always loved humankind unconditionally. And it's proactive. He sent his only son to die for us. His commands are not supposed to be burdens, but guidance from a loving Father. And then our obedience should be a grateful response to his unmerited love. So that's going to be the foundation of it all, is God's unconditional love for us. Now, whether we accept it and follow his commandments and do what we're supposed to, that's on us, right? But he has unconditional love for everyone. All right. Love demonstrated by obedience. Proving our love is seen in our actions. I don't know why I'm turning around. It's right there. Who wants to read John 14:23 through 24?
If anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words.
Okay, those are some pretty direct, strong words. If we love him, we will keep his word. We will come to him and make our home with him. And it says, whoever does not love me will not keep my words. Right, it's pretty direct. So Jesus clearly links our love for him with keeping his word, with obedience. And obedience isn't a way to earn love, it's the proof of it. We can never do enough to actually earn God's love, but it's a proof that we do love him. Any comments on anything so far? Okay, abiding in his love. So I looked up that word abide because, we don't use it in our daily lives very much anymore. I never tell the kids, can you go abide over there in the corner? I might like to sometimes. Just go over there, go away. But the definition in the Bible for abide is to remain, to dwell or live, and it is a continuous connection with God. So John 15:10 says, if you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. Let me go back for just a second. I'm going to talk about this. So when we first show God that we love him, we obey what he wants us to do. So that would be the beginning of our journey as Christians, right? So we would be following the plan of salvation. We obviously would hear, we would repent, we would believe, and then we would be baptized. We would go through those steps and obey his commands to become a Christian and start our walk with him. And so, but when you see in this next verse, in John 15, it's saying that So we want to remain in God's love. We want to have that deep connection with Him. We want to dwell in His love. I like that phrase, to abide in His love, like live in His love, okay? And Jesus is obviously our perfect example of obedient love. He did what His Father asked Him to do, even at such a great cost. So we must continue our obedience. It doesn't stop when we become a Christian. I know some faiths believe that you can never, fall out of God's love. Not that He's not going to love you, but that you can't fall away, get away from Him, move away from Him, okay? But this tells us that we must continue our obedience. It doesn't stop after becoming a Christian, and it allows us to remain in His love, to have that deep connection with God. Any comments about any of this so far? Okay. God's commands are not meant to be burdensome. So in 1 John 5:3 it says, "For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not burdensome." So what does that mean, burdensome? What do you think? Do what?
Do it because I want to.
Okay, you do it because you want to. Who else said something?
I said a burdensome meaning heavy or hard to bear.
Yes, heavy or hard to bear. God didn't put all of these commandments out there to make us miserable. If you follow His commands, your life is going to be much more peaceful. It's not necessarily going to be perfect. Things are still going to happen, but if you follow His commands, your life is going to be much more peaceful, much more calm, and you will be happier. I truly believe that, for sure. When our hearts are in the right place, obeying God is a joyful privilege, not a chore. So if we just want loving God to be something we do on the weekend, when we go to church, we'll think about it then. Or when we are in a certain setting, we'll think about it then, okay? If we only are demonstrating our love then, if that's our only idea of a Christian, then we're not going to get that deeper relationship with God. We have to obey His commands, okay? And that all starts with our heart. How many of you know people who profess to love God, but their actions don't really show it? Okay? There's actually a warning about that, a warning about lip service we're going to talk about in just a minute. Okay? So we need to know that God's commands are not a burden. We should be happy that we're doing them. And I mean, I've been guilty of this before where I'm like, oh, I should do this or that. I know I should, but then I'm like, oh, and that always comes from a place usually of selfishness. I don't want to give up that time for that when I know I should. Or I'm not praying enough like I should. Or I'm not giving of my means like I should. So I feel like we all struggle with some things in our lives that we struggle with when our hearts are kind of focused in the wrong spot, on whether those things become a burden. Who can tell me, so what are some they're chores, but commandments that we follow?
Chores.
No, I know, they shouldn't, that's right, not a chore. That's right. What are some things that God asks us to do that you find easier than others? Think about that for a minute. Are there some commands that you feel like are easier than others? And why would that be the case?
depends what your talents are.
Okay?
Sometimes when we feel like we're skilled at it, it's easy, but
Right.
if it's out of our comfort zone, it's hard.
Yeah,
But then if we try it, we might find out we actually can do that too.
yeah. That's very good, because I think that's something all of us struggle with. And I've seen it. I have seen people who were super quiet, super shy, and did not like to get up in front of people, did not ever think they would. And then as they have grown throughout their lives, they've gotten to where they can do that. And they're good at it, and they've become confident with it. And that is through God helping them. I think we forget that we don't have to do it on our own. God is going to help us with any of those things that we feel like that we're not good at, but that we should get out of our comfort zone. Good. What else? Any other thoughts? Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
In 1 John chapter 4, this whole passage right before is talking about, dear friends, let us love one another. Love comes from God. There's a whole song about it. I won't sing it for you. It's not my turn to teach. But it says right here that we're to love each other. And Philip said something very powerful to me. Well, to me. I was sitting there. He said it to all of us, but he said this. It's probably been about 6 months ago, where he said, it really boils down to two things: love God and love people. Loving God is super easy, but loving people is a struggle, because we're all human and we all have these things about us. And that really stuck with me. I took that to work. I shared it with my coworkers. I shared it with my staff, because it's something that we all, I think, have to work on, is that loving people part that is really hard. We need to not be so demanding, I think, of everyone else to be perfect when we ourselves are not perfect. And I see that a lot. Now, I'm not saying that I don't still have to work on this, because I absolutely do. You can ask my children. But I think that the more you practice with anything, it doesn't happen necessarily overnight. It's super easy to love Ezra.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Even when
Yeah.
he's throwing his macaroni on the floor.
Yeah.
It's super easy to love him, but some of the people I work with is infinitely harder to love. So I think that the more we practice it and the more that you really take stock of where you are in your relationship, the more it can help you.
Yeah.
And it helps you grow into obedience.
Right, absolutely, and that's along the line that I was going to say too. It's easy to love our family, right? Well, usually. It's easy to love our children, our grandchildren. Okay, it doesn't take any effort for me to love Ricky and Rosie. But like she said, there are people that it's a little bit harder to love. And we're supposed to love our enemies. And we're supposed to pray for our enemies. And those are commands, right? We're supposed to put others before ourselves. It's another command. That one can be hard too. Okay? So it's not necessarily that if we love God that all of these commandments are going to just be so easy to do. But we need to, like Julie said, just keep trying, keep doing them, keep our heart in the right spot. There are times where I have, and this was years ago, several years ago, and I was just really upset with somebody, and I just kept dwelling on it, or it just kept coming back to my mind. And I'm like, this is, I've got to let go of this somehow. And so every time that would try to pop into my head, I would pray, God, please help, please change my heart about this person. And then the next time I would have, like, oh, I'm so frustrated or whatever, God, please change my heart, because I know this is not helpful, this is not what you want me to do. And it did, it got better. And so, sometimes we just have to let God help us by asking Him to help us. Good comments. Anybody else? Okay, the danger of lip service. There are warnings about honoring God with our lips only. Isaiah 29:13 says, and the Lord said, because this people draw near with their mouth and honor me with their lips, while their hearts are far from me. Would somebody look up Matthew 5, 7, and 9, please? I don't have it on here. This is the New Testament reference to this scripture in Isaiah. And in Matthew, it's talking to the Pharisees. If somebody wants to read that.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall see mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons.
Okay, that's not the right verse. That's not the right verse. Is it Matthew 15? Sorry, I wrote it down wrong.
Yeah, you hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you when he said, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching of doctrines and commandments of men.
Okay, there we go. So he's talking to the Pharisees, and he's saying, you're hypocrites. Okay? And we all know how God feels about hypocrites. He does not like it. So people who outward religious acts without a heartfelt connection are empty. They mean nothing. People can get up and say they love God. They can get up and do a big show or whatever. But if their hearts are not right, that means nothing to God. It's empty to Him. And God looks at our heart, not just the action. We may be able, or people may be able to seem like they're godly, but if it's just lip service, God knows whether anybody else does or not, right? It's kind of like Facebook. People can look perfect, or their families can seem perfect on Facebook, but, you know, in real life, they might be struggling. And so we just need to heed this warning of not honoring God with our lips only. Okay, choice to love and obey. Deuteronomy 11:1 says, you shall therefore love the Lord your God and always keep His charge, His statutes, His rules, and His commandments. So in summary, God's love for us is our foundation. He is what we need to look for the perfect love, unconditional love. And that is our foundation. Then our love for God is proven by our obedience. And true obedience comes from a sincere heart. Is that the last one? Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a minute to reflect on your own relationship with God. Does your obedience flow from a place of love, or does it feel like a burdensome duty? That's just something that you could internally reflect on. And so I encourage you this coming week, to choose one command or area of your life that you can grow in obedience this week. I am going to try to be in the Word more this week. I'm going to put my phone to the side, and I need to be in the Word more. I need to be in prayer more during the week. So that is one thing that I want to grow in, that I need to grow in. So I'm not going to ask you all to say, but in your mind, think of one area that you really want to grow in, and we will all pray for each other that we are successful doing that. Any comments on anything? Kind of went through that a little bit quicker. Jennifer, will you turn off the YouTube live streaming? Uh-oh. I lost the other thing. I should have waited.
Let me get it off before you.